Okay, calling a meeting to order 6:01. First agenda item is approve the minutes from August 28th, 2024.
We accept the minutes as presented.
I second that.
Any discussion or amendments? All those in favor of approving the maintenance, the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? First application is 2458C Cadence Dressage LLC. You're the applicant?
No. Applicant.
The applicant's online. Oh, okay. 847 Jada Road, Wolcott. The basic description is a horseback riding lessons, school, vacation camps, homeschool, horsemanship classes. So anybody that's going to speak, I have to swear you in. So are you going to speak at any point, you think? Might as well swear you anyway.
Yeah.
And then the applicant is Randy.
Jade, iPhone.
Oh. Jane or Jade?
I think JAYD.
Yeah, it's Jade.
There it is. Okay, now I see it. All right, so I'll swear you in. So do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge under the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Me too, yes.
Okay. All right, so I guess, Jade, if you want to give, is there any more details you'd like to give other than what was on the application here?
That pretty much sums it up. I just do a lot of just kids programs. I mean, I shouldn't say not so much like a ton of people, but a different programs for the community for horseback riding, mainly riding lessons.
These vacation camps that are mentioned on the application, are those like overnight? camp?
Nope. So those are basically summer vacations. So like we do 3-week-long horsemanship camps where the kids come for the full 5 days. They leave at the end of the day. They're just day camps. And then sometimes depending on the school scheduling, I'll do like a winter vacation, same thing, half a day camp where they come and they can ride and be around the horses, but nothing overnight. It's just a day thing.
And the horses are yours? Are you boarding horses for other people?
So they're all mine right now. I just have one and a half. I have a big horse and a smaller horse that are boarders that are also in the riding program as well.
How many total animals?
8.
Can I just say, will that expand?
You can ask. Sure.
Is there a limit on horses?
I think the most I would probably ever have, just because I'm the only one that really takes care of them all, is between 8 and 9. I don't see myself accommodating more than that, just because of the space that I have at this time. I don't have more for that many more horses.
I guess there's no site plan in here. I'm guessing there's a barn and
It's a really nice stable. It's at the Bolanos property.
never been down the road, so
At the end of Jeter Road.
yeah. Yep.
Nice down
I would like to keep it that way.
And they ride outside, I'm guessing. It's the barn, it's not like an indoor riding arena.
Correct.
But let me ask this, as far as the barn goes, on the application, I don't know if this is crossed out or supposed to be underlined. it talks about erecting a 60 by 80 Calhoun hoop building.
That's
Yeah.
not-
That would be there too.
Yeah, that is hopefully something that I would like to do to be able to teach year round, because typically I would stop when winter hits due to the footing and the ice and everything. So originally I had reached out to Tom about any zoning permits and stuff for something like that. And that is why we're, doing the application for the business. So we started there, but eventually I would like to have a 60 by 80 structure put in it's like one of the bubble agricultural buildings that we could ride into to continue the programs through the winter months.
It's a temporary building, it's not a stick building.
Yeah, I know what it is, yeah.
Okay.
Is that like the one, you may not know this, I'm not familiar with the Calhoun, is it, they have one of the Joie stables?
Yes, yeah, very similar.
Okay,
I have satellite of that site. if you
yeah,
wanna
we
see
can
it.
just take a,
It's pretty big, the building, 60 by 80.
So this is the end of Jada Road, just for reference, of Route 12.
okay, so you're going down the
This is
road.
Richard Wolcott.
Yeah,
So this is way at the end here.
So if it puts it into perspective, if you cut the thing all the way over to the right, where it looks like the arena, that's the arena, it's about half that size.
This is the moment. This is where she's doing now.
and the hoop building will go by the arena?
Yep, right over the front half there where your mouse is.
Where the what is?
The mouse, you can see the little pointer on the screen.
Oh, okay, in that brown
Yeah.
area,
Yep.
yeah.
So they don't pour any concrete for those, where they just use auger anchors?
Yeah, I believe they're like a cement anchor, but the building, it's like the anchors I think would be permanent, but the building itself is not permanent.
So would this expand the business?
I think it would a little bit to a certain extent. My goal is to not get a ton bigger because again, it's just me doing all of the programs and I have a family myself, so I don't want to become this huge business. But it would just mainly allow for me to continue teaching the 10 to 15 lessons a week that I currently do now year round, and then also have the ability to ride during, the rain or the ice or snow or really hot days, just providing a little bit more protection than what we have right now.
Never any competitions?
What's that?
You would never have any competitions?
No, nope, not there.
Anyone else have any specific questions? We can go through the conditional use list and the questions pop up, people can ask them.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah, Randy, go ahead. So, yeah, Randy, I gotta swear you in, sorry, I didn't realize you were gonna testify. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth to the best of your knowledge under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Go for it.
So a couple things. Will this always be confined to the banana properties or will it affect or be on the area roads and in particular the private driveways and roads and private properties that surround this?
No, it should, as it has been, it's just gonna be on the actual immediate property. We may, take a horseback ride up the road, maybe one or two people. But I don't foresee me expanding any reason outside of that, the Bornanos property itself.
I'm looking at the application, so it's 115 acres in the parcel.
I believe so, yeah.
There's a lot more than that.
Do we know where the line, does it include like the fields, or is it an odd shape or rectangle? You probably know, Tom.
There's almost 300 acres. It's one lot is 150, the other one.
Oh, there's a couple lots.
Two big lots.
Okay.
Or something.
I own most of it to the right of what you see there.
Kind of where the brook is.
Well, out to the brook and back towards partway to the fields.
Halfway-ish, maybe.
Yeah, maybe halfway.
Okay. I'm just wondering about setbacks, but it looks like the neighboring properties are pretty far away from.
Yeah, I don't believe there's any setback issues.
This road dead
Far
ends
from
at
it.
that property.
Which way is it going? Is it going up the trail that's behind our place?
We have,
Come down that far?
well, yeah,
All right, we can go through the list, and I'm sure questions will come up, and if we don't hit anything at the end, you can ask questions. So the first criteria is the capacity of existing or planned community facilities or services. That's basically, we're looking at demand on the capacity of services like school, water, sewer, emergency services, recreation facilities, and how it kind of may impact any of those. The only one that kind of jumps out at me might be emergency services. They have easy access there, and is there a large volume and increase in riders that you're gonna see in the near future? Or is it the number is gonna stay the same?
I would like for them to stay around what I've been doing. In the summer, I do a little bit more just because the weather's nicer. I do between like 15 and 20 lessons a week. Now these 15 to 20 lessons a week are the same riders every week. So it's not 15 or 20 different riders every week. And in the winter, obviously it slows down. The emergency vehicles have a full access, and it looks like it's kind of closed in, but if you drive down the road, it's pretty open and pretty easy to get around. So I don't see myself getting to the point where I'm more than 20 lessons a week. Just because, like I said earlier, I mentally and physically have to take care of the horses and as well teach. So I don't want to overload my schedule.
Are there any dry hydrants down there? Or fire ponds?
Well, there's 2 ponds on the property. So I would assume that those could be used. I've never seen any hydrants before, but I know that there's 2 ponds.
I don't have any other questions about.
are roads included in that section?
I'm sorry.
You just named off different things. Are roads included there?
They are later down the line. They're not item number 3. The second one is the existing pattern and use of development in the area affected. So this is looks at the design, location, scale, and intensity of the proposed development. And or use relative to the surrounding neighborhood. For the purposes of conditional use review, the area affected is defined as the surrounding area likely to be affected by the proposed use, including but not limited to properties within sight or sound of the proposed use. So this is basically looking at, you know, the kind of the character of the neighborhood. It sounds like how many years have you been doing this?
At the Nanos, or just-
Yeah, at that site.
this will be my 2nd year.
Oh, okay.
They've had horses there for decades. I actually worked down there at one point with my mill.
Any questions about that aspect of it?
Oh, so The only piece of it I'm interested in is the four-wheeler trail going to become part of the riding trail.
Let's save that, I think, for a little bit later. The third one is the traffic on the roads and the highways in the vicinity, and that's, we're looking at the impact of traffic resulting from the development, the capacity, safety, efficiency, and use of affected public roads, bridges, and intersections. I don't think we need to look at any traffic studies, and anything creating unsafe conditions for pedestrians, cyclists, or motorists, or unacceptable levels of congestion. I guess the question is, how much of an increase in traffic on the road do we anticipate?
I mean, as far as right now, like I said, I don't see it getting any more use than what it is right now. Typically my lessons are between a half an hour long and an hour long. So typically families will come, they'll be in one vehicle for the one student. They'll be there for, either a half an hour lesson or an hour lesson. And then my lesson schedule right now is just in the afternoons after school. So there's a little bit more, I guess you'd say traffic in the afternoons between 2:30 and 4:30. And then I guess in the summertime, it's a little bit earlier. I start teaching around 1:30 and go until about 4:30 or 5:30. And then the days that we have camps, it's from 9 to 2. So drop off is around 9. And then pickup is around 2. And there's usually 10 to 12 children per camp. So again, it's kind of lulled during the middle of the day, and then they either all come at the same time to drop off and leave, or they come one at a time for, half an hour lesson. But long story short, I don't think it's going to increase any more than what it's been at.
Anyone have questions about the road use traffic?
Well,
I
that's been on my mind.
would like to mention a safety concern.
Randy, hold on. Sorry, tell me your name again.
Bill Thomas.
Bill had a question, then Randy, you go next.
I just wonder, if there is an increased traffic, our driveway is kind of in a peculiar spot. If you're coming down towards this project, you come over the hole, and if we pull off and we get people traveling too fast, it could be dangerous.
Posted by 35, I'm guessing.
That's still too fast because there's no visibility of our driveway until you get right.
Right, but is the posted speed limit 35?
Yeah, that's 30.
Okay.
So we don't really have any control over that.
Yeah, no,
As far as the speed limits,
that would be a select board probably.
it would be, and they're not, well, I shouldn't say.
The process to deal with the speed limit at the select board, you have to have a traffic study done, and the traffic study would have to support the lowering of the speed limit. We would welcome you guys to come in.
I will say too, may I interject? I do let all of my clients know that it is a very quiet road, and I try to, reiterate that. One, there's always dogs on the road, and people walking, so that, whether or not they listen to me, but I do tell them to go slow and don't, go faster than 20 or 25, just because there's horses up the road that often ride on the road. And like I said, there's dogs and people walking a lot, or if one of us is up on the road, riding our horses too. So I don't know if that helps any, but I do try to let people know to, be respectful of the dirt road.
And hidden driveways, it's mostly a hidden driveway when you come around that corner.
There's sign that says hidden drive.
Is there anything that you could do to open it up a little bit more so you have better visibility? Or is it
No,
a
because
geographic feature?
What you're doing is once you start around the corner, you're also going downhill. So it's not like we can look down and see people coming this way, but you see nothing because you're right on, just coming right down the little ridge at the same time you're going around the corner. So anybody coming from Route 12 towards the driveway, if they're going too fast and we're trying to pull out, we can't see them, they won't see us.
Is that the select board ask for a hidden drive sign?
Yeah, that would be another place that you could,
Can I ask how many days a week this is?
Yeah, I will get to that, like, some sort,
Okay.
but yeah, we will definitely cover that. Randy, you had a question?
All the dirt roads on that side of Route 12 basically have a lot of switchback corners that are very blind. And that could tend to raise some safety issues with coming around a corner and meeting a couple of horses side by side, taking up a large portion of the road, which there isn't much width of the road to start with. So a heavy increase in traffic of that type could lend itself to somebody getting hurt or a horse getting hurt or.
Is
That's
that-
my,
Question to answer?
no, I'm just saying that it's a safety issue it's just the layout of the roads there are not conducive to
Right.
a real safe environment.
Yeah, and I will say 99% of us don't typically ride on the road for that reason, because I mean, my horses are very well behaved and knock on wood, don't spook at much. But that doesn't mean that accidents can't happen. So we typically, the furthest up the road we go is basically at the top of the Bonanno's property where we can hook into the trails. I don't typically take students up the road. And I also have waivers that basically are like you ride at your own risk if you own a horse and you decide to ride up the road. And I know Vermont is pretty good about you know, the riding on the road safety and laws as far as, you know, horses have the right of way and everything. But it is a concern of mine, which is why we don't typically ride up the road. I don't know if that helps answer your question at all.
And I'm just putting it out there as a warning that somebody could get hurt if there's a heavy increase in traffic because of just the way the situation is with the roads and the layout of them.
Absolutely.
And like they were saying with the hidden drives, there's probably 20% of the driveways on the road are hidden.
Yeah.
Just because of the way the roads are.
Next field I have, this is parcel viewer. So this is Jada Road here.
Gotcha.
And you can, this one is a different time of year than the other side, so you can see the trails on the Bonanno's property here, and I'm guessing this is where Jade's talking about.
Yeah.
It's coming up to here. There also is another neighbor on Richard Wolcott Road that has horses and does ride on the road pretty regularly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I live on the Richard Wolcott Road, so I see those horses out. And I don't think that has anything to do with Jade's operation.
Gotcha.
The next one is bylaws now in effect. So basically the conditional use has to conform to all the municipal bylaws and regulations at the time of the submission of the application. In compliance with any conditions of prior permits or approvals, but there aren't any prior permits or approvals. And then Tom, did any other bylaws catch your attention? I can't think of anything.
No.
The next one, utilization of renewable energy resources. This is really just looking at making sure that any projects don't hinder potential renewable resource development. And I'm struggling to find anything that might cause that to happen. All right, the next one is the specifics. So the first one is the capacity of the site to support the proposal. Sounds like since it's already in existence, the site is adequate to support the project.
I believe so.
Mentioned soil erosion. I guess when the Calhoun Hoop building, when that gets put up, any erosion concerns will be addressed at that time from runoff from the building.
Yeah, and I don't see there I mean, there's probably always going to be some, but where we would be installing it would be pretty flat, and it's already pretty well draining from the work that the Bonanos have put into actually putting the arena in itself, just the dirt process. So I don't see it having any major drainage issue as far as erosion goes.
Right. The next one is scenic, natural, or irreplaceable areas. We just have to be sure that the project doesn't have an undue effect on the scenic or natural beauty, aesthetics, historic sites, or rare and irreplaceable natural areas. Sounds like any development that's gonna happen is already on the parcel, a part of the parcel that's already been modified and used by humans.
Correct.
Water and air quality, undue water, noise, or air pollution.
I have one question here. Was this site developed for sort of this more commercial application when it was developed? And is the septic designed for that capacity?
That would be a state issue. We cannot deal with septic at all.
You can't deal with it, but can you let it go? I mean, if it's not adequate, you can just let it go.
We have no say over that whatsoever. That is a state, I mean. You could say that it's a change of use from strictly residential. And, you know, maybe the state would look into it, but we don't have any say over that.
Or was this already sort of cited and permitted as a commercial driving lane or just private?
I believe it's going from residential to commercial, right, Tom? This doesn't have a pre-existing commercial use on the property, does it?
The Bowanos have a conditional use permit for some use, taking sand and gravel out.
That's
different.
Yeah, that's
Resource.
excavating.
Resource extraction,
It's a field permit, I don't even know if they would get any more.
but no like commercial permit or anything.
No.
So I'm not sure if the septic thing would be an issue, considering we don't have a bathroom that we use. I think, I don't know how much of where the wastewater goes, but any of the wastewater would either be water that's dumped from the water troughs into the ground or very light barn water use. I don't know if that helps answer any questions. We don't have a bathroom that we're using all the time or anything like that.
Jade, when you have camp there, do you rent a porta potty or something like that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
The next one is landscaping and streetscape standards, and this is kind of to, preserve the integrity of the site in terms of the visual aspect. I can't imagine, I can't. Streetscape standards. Parking.
Most of those have to do with true developments.
Yeah, it's just, I don't see any. Exterior lighting, any additional exterior lighting that you anticipate?
No, not at this time, because I don't think we have any type of electrical that would be up there. So realistically, we would be done teaching lessons before it got dark, since it would be too dark to ride in.
Right, well, that was actually the last criteria, so. Usually what we do now is we talk about like hours of operation, days of operation, number of, traffic on the road kind of thing. So I don't know if that's gonna answer the question you had, Bill, or.
Yeah, I was just wondering, what days, does this happen?
Yeah, so why don't we do that now, Jay? Why don't we settle on some hours of operation and days of operation?
Okay, so basically I can kind of give you a rundown of like when I'm there. I typically get to the barn around 8 o'clock. Between 7 and 8, I would say, to be safe. I do my chores solely by myself. I'm typically done chores around 10:30, 11, and then I head home for lunch. And this is 7 days a week because obviously I have to take care of my horses even when I'm on a weekend. And then typically I have, the two boarders that are there now. I don't really know their schedule, but let's add on kind of the same morning routine and or the afternoon. But they're usually there for an hour or so. So I would say, like, as a gauge for hours of operation, I would say like 8:30 to 5:30. I don't typically teach past 5:30. My last lesson usually starts at 4:30 in the summertime. And then in the wintertime, I usually will drop my 4:30 because it's dark out. And then weekends are pretty much the same thing. Sometimes on the weekends in the summer, I only go once a day, to try to not go there twice a day. They're able to stay out on pasture, so I don't have to go and check in on them. But since I have to go in the morning during the week anyways, I do my chores in the morning and then I teach in the afternoons. So I would say, to be fair, 8:30 to about 5:30. That's kind of my baseline, year round. But then I would say my teaching schedule usually starts in April and ends, if we're lucky, middle to end of November.
So it's the teaching part of it that I think we would be most interested in. The rest of it sounds like strictly agricultural, which, you do what you want with that.
Yeah, so I would say between April and November right now is what I'm doing. And I would say my lessons typically, to generalize, 1:30 in the summertime till about 5:30 in the afternoons, 5 days a week.
What are the days?
So it does vary. Right now, since both my daughters are in two different schools, I am not teaching Wednesday and Friday afternoons. So I did pick up a Saturday morning to kind of flux out that schedule. But typically in the summer, I don't teach on the weekends, and it's Monday through Friday. So right now I'm just teaching Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays.
So would it be safe to say Monday through Saturday? What you said the first lessons are what time?
During the school year, they start around 2:30. In the summertime, they're typically around 1:30.
So say Monday through Saturday, 1 to 6 p.m.
Sure, that's a good range. Yeah.
You got that, Tom?
Is there any chance that you might start earlier at some point? Because I might suggest that if you think that you may in the future expand a little bit, that you basically do it now as far as what goes on the permit, so you don't have to come back.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance that sometimes I have to do a makeup lesson and I might do a morning lesson, or I get a homeschooler that wants to take lessons for a couple weeks and they can only do mornings. So, part of me, I guess, having my own business is to have that flexibility in my schedule to try to schedule around what works for me. So generally I don't teach in the mornings. I will say I do have a homeschool program that runs the September, October, and November. I don't think I'm going to continue that after this year, just because it just is one more thing that right now I just can't focus on as much as far as developing it. And that right now runs on Thursdays from 10 to 11:30. So that is my only morning lesson really that I have right now. And there's 4 people in the group, and then I have a helper that comes and helps me teach. So that program I don't see coming back next fall. But like I said, my schedule varies. But that is what I try to keep it within, those hours.
maybe nine to six?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say that, I mean, there's hardly ever anybody that comes, you know, for teach
Yeah.
for. But if that makes it easier for you guys to just kind of think of it as like a, you know, a 9 to 6, 5 days a week or 6 days a week thing, then that's fine. It just, I don't want you to think that I'm working, you know, every single hour teaching a lesson from 9 to 6, because I'm
Oh, no,
definitely,
you can work as little or as much as you want. We just kind of want to set the wide net here, so.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so 9 to 6, Monday through Saturday. And then guesstimate on any given day about how many riders or vehicles, I guess, would be more applicable.
I would say an average of 5, maybe 5 or 6. You know, in the summer months, I'm obviously teaching a little bit more than the winter. And within that realm of time, unless it's a camp week, I would say it's around 5 or 6 a day. Because I only have 4 lesson horses, so I really don't do more than 4 lessons a day. And sometimes I'll use a half an hour lesson, depending on, you know, a horse can work an hour and a half versus an hour. So sometimes I'll have 4-hour lessons, which would be 4 different riders. And then sometimes I'll have 4.5-hour lessons because there's a half an hour. So that'd be a 5th person.
So it sounds like maybe 5 to 10 vehicle trips in and out of there from clients a day.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't even know, that's such a small number.
So
And
the lessons are like 1 rider per lesson? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep. I have one lesson that's 2 riders together. They typically carpool, so they're not taking 2 separate cars. They're usually pretty good about carpooling.
With such a small number, unless anyone has the real concern about the vehicular traffic on the road, I can't really find a way to justify putting a limit on the trips per day.
And camp is 12 kids at a time per day? I don't understand the difference between camps on the lesson.
So a camp runs from 9 to 2. And it's basically, it's like a summer camp. So like you can sign your kid up and they come, they ride in the morning, and then we do arts and crafts in the afternoon. And that runs from 9 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. A lesson would be solely 1 rider with me for an hour. Okay. So yeah, so it's more of like a group, the camp is more of a group environment versus the lessons are more one-on-one.
Okay, so the camp, there could be 12 kids there at a time, 10, 12 kids there?
Correct.
Okay, so that is an increase. During the camp times, if you've got 12 kids shuttling in and out, that's more than 5.
So that would just be drop off in the morning where there'd be a lot of cars, and then pick up in the afternoon. The parents don't stay and leave. And again, sometimes they carpool as well. I had a lot of kids this year that knew each other and carpooled. So it may not necessarily be 12 cars every single day.
Right, but it could be that. I'm just looking at what could be as opposed to, because we just never know. And it is obvious, some days there are a lot, you know, you're pulling over, depending on what the road condition is to start with. Everybody's pulling over as far as they can because of the trucks and everything trying to get through the increased truck traffic.
Anyone, any other conditions that you feel applicable?
No, I'm looking up the annual average daily traffic formulas to see, I mean, and I don't see 12 trips a day on that 0.8 of a mile road affecting the AADT on that road. I don't.
What's their threshold increase? Probably much higher, right?
Yeah, it's quite a lot higher. Trying to find the tables now, and I haven't found them yet. They're available.
Class 3 road, isn't it?
It
All
is.
the way to the end.
Yeah. And V-Trans has different tables for design standards, things like lines of sight for driveways and different things. I was trying to find that information. But I haven't found the table yet. But
I
even
can,
still-
if I can interrupt, I will say that I have never, I mean, I'm in and out of there quite a bit, at least 4 times a day. I've never had any issues, maybe once or twice with some of the blind driveways, but I've never had issues as far as having to completely, I mean, unless it's like a huge snowstorm, then you're kind of like, you know, white knuckling your steering wheel anyway. I found that I had more issues deviating from dogs in the middle of the road than anything else, rather than cars. I don't, and I know that you can usually hear traffic from the, you know, the bottom part of the Bonanno's driveway, and there's typically not that many cars that are going up and down the road, at least when I'm there.
Yeah, I think Izzy, the dog Izzy, is no longer with us.
Oh, it isn't?
Yeah, so and she,
Last time I saw it was last week.
she's usually the typical obstruction on that road, I feel.
On the road.
She's very fun. I'm just like, you gotta get out of the way, girl. You're gonna get hit.
Yeah, I think we lost her a couple weeks ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
You still looking like all
Yeah, it's not, I wanted to have the exact numbers to say, but we don't have a traffic study on Jader Road, anyway, to compare it to. But I know that the design values on class 3 roads, especially dead end roads, they're very, very small, and even 12 trips a day coming and going isn't gonna impact,
Right.
bring you into that next.
Right, and I guess what I'm looking at is not just the number of cars, but the lack of good maintenance on that road, especially during mud season. And the more cars and trucks you haul over that during mud season, it's just,
Sounds like.
I guess if you're a horse farmer, you can maneuver those ruts and holes pretty well, but after a while, you know, the normal cars for the residents are just dragging bottom, so.
The summer camp traffic, though, it doesn't sound like it would be happening during.
As long as it slows down,
Yeah.
as long as it slows down when it comes up that little knoll and down around the corner.
Brittany, do you have any other questions?
I do not.
I would entertain a motion to approve 2458C, conditional use, permit.
Would make that motion.
I would second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays, abstentions. Okay. Thank you, Jade.
Thank you, guys.
And if there's any other questions about details, just get in touch with Tom and he can help you out.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate it very much. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
As far as your road goes, I'm also on the select board. I would encourage you to get in touch with our new select board admin, Michelle.
Yep,
And she can get you on the agenda and we can talk about some things
yep.
as far as signage and maintenance.
Now, does anybody, I'm still trying to figure out the 4-wheeler trail that goes up on our line. Is that going to be altered in any way to accommodate trail riding?
Whose property is it on? Is it on their property?
It's, yeah,
On the screen.
yeah, that's, if you could just do that.
That's why we're here. It's adjacent.
You know,
You guys are 444?
Yeah.
And I'm 446.
This is trails on Bonanno's land?
It's a 4-wheeler trail,
So
yeah.
this is a parcel view coming up on the screen here. And this shows it pretty good. These are the trails. You can kind of see through the trees here. I'm guessing that's what you're talking about.
Can you blow that up at all?
Yeah. And you guys are these 2 lots right here.
Yeah,
So that trail kind of comes in.
but doesn't come down next to us. The 4-wheeler trail, where are we again? Show me where we are.
You're these 2 lots right here.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
4,
Yeah, the trail is probably parallel with our property line,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
There's a little notch there too. Looks like.
Is that an old road or something? They make.
I call it the spy road, whenever either of us are building something or digging something, it's a lot of traffic on the road with four-wheelers and horses to.
Does it loop or does it just go?
No, I think it does loop,
Well, this is Zach Sotheby over here. About this parcel. Looks like it cuts.
I don't think you can
No,
see the
that's the
trail.
old power line
So
you're on
your
right
trees.
now.
Oh, is that what? Oh, that's the power line. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
They took most of that down. It's gone now.
Okay. Well, there's lines that go across, well, comes across here. Somewhere.
Yeah, it stops at our road now.
Oh,
They
it
got
stops
rid
on the
of-
road? Okay,
Yeah. The part that goes through Sotheby's is gone now.
okay.
and where's their little building gonna be? Down by the roundabout?
Sotheby's?
The little building that they're gonna put up.
That's gonna be,
Like 60, yeah, I know.
so you guys are here. And then this is Jada Road, there's the end of it, and they have this little riding ring here,
Okay,
and she said they were gonna put it up on this side of it over here.
okay.
So,
Yeah, big thing for me is the traffic and the trail that goes up on our line.
I don't know if we can make out where the ATV trails are, there's a little notch looking
Yeah,
through.
you can't see because of the trees.
Right.
But you said it's kind of parallel to the property line in
It
here.
was right up next to it, yeah,
Yeah.
at the white,
Even
on
closer.
those two sections, yeah.
Yeah,
Through there.
you got it.
It actually runs right along the trees that still have the barbed wire fence on it.
Okay.
I had a surveyor shoot that line, and I do want to eventually put a line fence up on my lot down through.
I think the four-wheeler might be a select board question, conditional use was for horses, so.
Are you worried that they're gonna ride horses on it?
I'm worried that there's gonna be. And again, that fits in with there's no bathrooms that they use, do they just stop along the trail and leave human waste, things like that happen, and, you take a walk down in your woods. And somebody jumped off the trail and into the wood, it just is all stuff that I think about when such things are coming in. It's gonna happen, and I know it's gonna happen, but I just know that if there are problems, then, yeah, we holler select board, I guess. But, it's a lot of people. It's a road that is not well maintained and kept. And mud season is terrible, winter is terrible, and, while we're sitting there maybe spinning, trying to get up the little knoll, you got trucks coming both ways to get past, so.
Can I ask, why are we here tonight? Is it only because she's adding that big building? She's been at it 2 years.
Yeah,
Should she have done this 2 years ago?
Yes.
yeah,
Never got a permit in the first place.
She didn't realize she needed one, right?
Yeah. That's good.
So, when you've got a business that involves animals like that, there's a fine line between needing a permit and not needing a permit, just being strictly agricultural. And it can be confusing.
Where do they go to the bathroom down there?
She said they rented a porta potty.
That's only when they have camp. Wasn't it? When she said that?
That's what I asked, and that's what she answered, that, I don't know if that means it's only there then, but.
So her lessons are half an hour, they may not necessarily have to go to the bathroom during that period. Or they do like I do and piss on the lawn.
Yeah,
I don't know.
well, at least their water runs downhill, so that wouldn't affect us.
Away from me, this building.
No, not like I said, unless somebody jumps off the four-wheeler trail and into the woods.
Michael, you're next. You switch hats?
I'm just saying, on the other side of the.
I don't know. Stay over here. Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, thank you.
I was only 5 minutes behind you. I was only 5 minutes behind you.
Only five. You saw my test.
Thank you all
Thank you.
very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night.
There was another copy of the minutes in Michael's application. Do you want those to stay in here, or do they just end up, it's just basically the same thing as the, well, no, this was on top of the whole pile of everything, but this, I don't know if that just ended up in there. Oh, okay, all right, so, all right. All right, so we are opening 2460C, 51 Wheeler Lane. Applicant Michael Paradee. And like to apply for a contractor yard designation as I run my contracting business from my house. And often have tools, trailers, materials, and equipment on site. There's also a hobby wood shop in the building that I sometimes sell products from. There will be no increase in traffic or noise beyond what exists already here and at surrounding properties.
I don't know if there needs to be a public record of this, but obviously I'm recusing myself from.
Fair enough. And we still meet quorum of 3, right? Okay, so we're fine. Yes, if you, can you pull us up a map of this, just so we can kind of take a look? See the updated map.
Do you want a parcel view or just Google that?
The Google one is more recent.
Yeah, plus the parcel map, you're not building any new buildings, so we don't have to worry about.
What's the property address?
51 Wheeler Lane.
The parcel map is all that accurate. Shows some of my lines like.
Yeah, it's got a mix of accuracies.
I found that the Onyx maps, you can get them on your phone and you can get them online too. Those are way more accurate.
Mhm.
This one?
Yep.
Sand Hill, Wheeler Lane. Context. Sand Hill Road. Lane is this one. Looking at this property here. This is the access here.
Yep. And what's changing? The only thing that really is changing is that I have a Connex storage box that I'm taxed on because they have a value. And you know, I've got trucks and trailers and I just bought an excavator. There's just gonna be a lot of construction-like equipment around. And as of right now, I don't think I'm violating anything in the rural district. But as things go on, there's a parcel behind me that belongs to an elderly gentleman. There's the parcel across the road from me that belongs to a fantastic. There's a lot of land around me that has the potential to sell or be developed. And I'm just trying to get ahead of any potential issues with new neighbors and protecting my livelihood. I would hate to be told that I can't have a bundle of lumber delivered to the house.
Mhm.
But that's really all this is.
All right, well, we can go through it. So number 1, capacity of existing planned community facilities. I don't see a strain on any. The nature of the neighborhood, sounds like we should do this.
Yeah,
All right.
and my neighbor Lee has got a way more impressive wood shop than I do. You can hear his planer for miles.
Any anticipated increase in traffic?
Nope.
Not affecting any current bylaws, no effect on potential renewable energy. Capacity of the site to support the proposal, it sounds like you're just parking some equipment, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some materials.
Yeah.
There's no scenic, natural, or irreplaceable areas. Water and air quality, any like massive increase in noise or air pollution?
No.
Nothing. Landscaping, streetscaping, it sounds like you've already got or it looks like you've already got a landscape, screen with trees in front of your place of the road, right? Can't really see any other house. No new exterior lighting?
Nope.
And that was the last one. I don't know, do we need to do like hours, I guess.
It's just basically an equipment storage yard.
Yeah.
You're not running business.
No.
Yeah.
It's a public.
Yes, no,
It's involved.
no, the only thing that I could see that would impact any neighbors would be, this spring, for example, I built 30 picnic tables in the basement and sold them through the summer. Any noise like that would happen during daylight hours between 8 and 5. But that's really the only kind of work that takes place there is, the occasional wood shop type thing. No louder than a hobbyist wood shop.
The application mentioned selling things out of the shop occasionally,
Products built in the shop.
so like those picnic tables.
Exactly.
Okay.
Where's your shop, in the basement?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's still unfinished. It's just fiberglass with a bunch of tools hanging on it.
Just be full of tools and crap.
Yeah. You could barely walk through it now.
I don't know, I can't think of any conditions that.
No.
Right, I would entertain a motion to approve 2460 Yeah, 2460C, conditional use, for maybe.
That motion.
Second.
Further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
Yep.
And you put up a sign,
Don't plan to. No, I've got a trailer with my name on it that you can see from the road. I don't need any more than that.
He's that good, he doesn't need to advertise.
No, I'm just that slow. It's 3 projects a year.
So the last thing is 2459S, this is the John and Tracy Harris site plan, what are we doing with this, Tom?
I don't know,
Did they just bring it back in for us to look at, or,
yeah.
I forget what did we, okay, so the last thing we did, is the continuation from January 34th, I think that probably said January 24th, okay, so, sorry, that on the minutes, but circle that. Applicants will submit a plan that meets the requirements of section 4.1. See, that was the whole frontage thing. So that's the notes from, I guess, what they were gonna do was, we talked about the road, whether it was gonna go behind the barn or, so is this new? Did they
This is a new one, since,
So now there's 2 lots here. So I know where we left off, he was gonna make 2 lots back here, right? In the road frontage, which is gonna extend up in. It's not 50 or 75 feet into this
yeah,
lot.
he gave up this thing through here, now he just put the road and those lots, so. I guess he's just looking to see if he can just go ahead with that plan.
Can I put this on the overhead so it's in the?
Yeah.
In the video?
So before the road was going in between the buildings, where was where was it going before? He's got, Nolan's got it up there.
I also got an email late this afternoon from Matt Reed that said the wastewater permit's been approved for it. So. Well, the worst thing,
They have approved it without the.
I mean,
So I know what we're talking about.
So the old road was. What's it?
Yeah, the first version went between the house and the barn. The version he brought in last time came up through, but the issue was it didn't serve two lots, which means doesn't make it
Right.
private road, makes it driveway.
it didn't have road frontage, that's the issue.
So by adding that other lot,
So now it's 3, I can't see a number. Can you see it, Dolan? The numbers on those, and that, I can't read that
Lot
font.
numbers,
Yeah,
this one says lot number
It's like 3 lots, I mean,
4B. 4A,
this would be 1, 2, 3 lots.
and then the house is on the 4th,
house is on.
No, the house is on the first. Here's the house,
but that is one lot right there.
this is 1 lot.
yeah, this is, it's marked as 4A and 4B, well, that's not right.
So. That driveway.
This, right now, this is kind of the driveway.
That's the driveway. So the issue was he wanted to keep using that driveway, but we were saying, he was gonna do this lot, that lot.
Right.
And then we said, well, then your access has to these buildings has to be on this road primarily.
It's this road needed another driveway or something.
Yeah, so that's why he split this into 2, so now this road serves 2 lots as its primary.
Well, now I'm going to be a road, 3 lots now.
Well, no, because this isn't the primary access to this lot, you know,
Okay.
it is the
Oh, so
primary
it's
access.
treated
to
like a
these
corner
lots.
lot with this thing right there.
Yes.
So the 911 that he has stays because,
For this,
Right.
because I remember that was part of the issue.
yeah.
But as long as it's serving these two.
Has to serve at least 2 lots as the primary and stuff.
So at this point, with this plan, the only thing I see is that you can have, the Elmore Pond Road people do, they made a little 75-foot box. And he'll need to do that. That line can't be straight because he doesn't have, unless the road, this little sketch of the road turns and gives him 150 feet there, correct?
But then it would have to go 150 feet, not just 75 up in, because he's only got one frontage on one side.
Yeah, I wonder what would be more efficient to have Matt change the sketch of the road or to set 3 more corner pins. Or 2 more corners. Either way, doesn't matter, but yeah,
What are these, what's the lot size on each of these? Like 3 or 4 acres?
So they're actually 3 out smaller. The farthest one in is 3.97, the front one is 2.20. 3.97, 2.20.
private road doesn't act as a subdividing line. I know I asked that in a previous meeting and you guys said no.
Town roads.
Town roads do.
No, I don't even know if it even mentions private roads as being a natural sub or default subdivider. I mean, it's not like they could, subdivide either of those anyway, because those wouldn't meet dimensional or lot size. anyway.
Yeah, just if the private road acted as a subdivision line, I didn't know if that would be usable. If that road. In effect, cut that first lot into 2. Then obviously it wouldn't work.
Is in your, this is rural district? Yeah. Is the lot size 2 acre?
It is.
Yeah,
Any division of that would be.
Right. What is the dotted, the wavy
I was
dotted?
just thinking, what is this thing too?
The edge of the field, I think.
Oh, okay.
Right back.
There's a stream in there somewhere.
There's no legend.
It's Ranch Ridge. Boundary line. Yeah, so this. These words right here. Say drainage ditch is boundary line and an arrow pointing at that time.
Yeah, because the straight line is the property line, right?
Yeah. So.
He's already started putting this road and I actually walked on it out there here someplace.
I wonder if the deed, wonder if he's referencing, like my house, the deed says I have 50 feet south of Bruce Brook. I wonder if that's the assumed property line instead of a strict meets and bounds.
Could be because the rest of the boundary line is dotted also.
Yeah.
All dotted.
So what is that solid gray line then? Yeah,
It's not labeled.
it kind of continues down, as you can see a little bit of it right there too. And there, but then there's no solid gray.
I think there's pins right at the corners
Yeah.
and those are labeled.
Is that just a straight line in between the pins for reference?
Yeah, I think that that's all that is to locate that other pen. It's impossible to see it there, and it's hard to see it here, but there's a squiggle that looks like you would have a fair distance.
Look, oh, because this one actually, these have it on it, right? Yeah, is that what those are? They just didn't write, he just didn't write it on it.
As I say, in that blur there, if you look at the paper copy of it, it looks like if you were to zoom in on that.
We can zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
So you should have blown that up. They didn't leave these.
Or is that maybe just the length, oh, is that the length? From between those two pins? Because it's easier to do that than follow curvy line.
Yeah, I'm assuming that, yeah, that's all that is a survey line to establish that pin.
I guess as long as the legend's clear that, you know, the property line is the dotted line and the gray line is just a survey line.
That's different. That's line parcels.
Yeah, so either way, they still have to do something along that line, whether they give him the 75-foot box or turn the road.
Where's that? So I
To just to delineate where the end of this road is, you know, this one. Like, is it going all the way to the end or? But it's gotta go a minimum of 75 feet up into this.
So that
So
means-
it's got 150 feet total of road frontage.
So we need that drawn in here, the 75 feet.
He's driving
Well,
all the way to there.
You know, if they wanna have 150 feet, that's up to them,
Okay.
you know, but probably
At least-
delineate that.
Minimum of 75.
Or where we could do it in the conditions,
Yeah.
you know, that it has a minimum of 150 feet of road frontage.
So when you just go back to the house site, just to make sure they've got, you know, like any power lines, septic, all that stuff's on there, so. We don't have to deal.
That is.
Oh, so maybe it's just a drainage ditch up higher and actually collects water.
Because I know you put a culvert in here.
So where's, oh, does that say leach field?
This is Leachfield, I don't know. what
What's that
is. Is that a well, maybe?
Oh, I say pump stations.
I can't read it with glasses.
I would just, yeah, I would just, you know, make sure that they have the septic and power and, well on here. And that's the only thing that.
Do they have to have water septic plans for that?
Just on anything that's existing. I mean, they can put proposed stuff on there, but it's not. We usually,
And it sounds like they've got a plan started anyway. They, if it's permitted with the state, then it probably should be in our. On our,
Or, yeah, the existing one, but you put that on.
so yeah, if it's permitted, that means it's designed then, right? Probably.
yeah,
Yeah, again, it doesn't really matter for subdivision purposes. They could be carving up 4-acre lots for campsites. Or just to hang out and look for drugs.
yeah, undeveloped.
Their intent is to sell this and just keep that for, who knows?
And you were talking about like putting a camper out there, and
Yeah.
just have a place in where they were filmed and hang out.
So he was saying that this was not actually not his is just this.
Right.
So originally that road, when he first came in, was going right through here, right?
No, it was a.
I thought it went
was a
between the
right-
barn.
the right away to the thing. It was
Right.
in the room.
But well, he was proposing a road going up
Right,
through here.
right,
That's
right.
where Michael brought it up, that he was gonna be too close to both these buildings.
Well, and now say the property line, and then even if the building wasn't there, he didn't have.
Didn't realize that property line was right there. Who owns the barn?
Jeff. The Bears.
And then the house and garage and workshop. John and Tracy.
Is John Tracy,
Jeff is their what, cousin?
brother.
Brother. John,
John
John.
and Jeff and Belinda, brothers and sisters.
gotcha. Yeah, that's, I guess, make sure they have at least 100 or 75 feet in or 150 feet somehow, and then, well, power and, septic that's existing, and that's the only thing I don't see on there.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do that. This was just a sketch for you guys to look at.
I'm guessing they got the proper distance right here.
25 feet.
That's probably 25 feet,
Yeah,
right?
that's more than 25 feet
Okay.
5 feet from the outside of the,
from the corner
to this line,
to the room,
or to the center of the road,
to the edge of the room.
to the edge of the road. Cause this dotted line is the 50 foot from center,
Oh, okay, so,
right? Or the door, 45 foot from center,
Oh, yeah, 50 foot right
50
away.
foot right away,
Yeah.
so that dotted line is
Yeah.
25 from center.
Mhm.
so they've got 50
And
feet.
then twice that.
Right.
Yeah,
And again, if you look closely on the paper one, it looks like that. This line here is annotated, it's supposed to be a distance line, it looks like it's got a number scribbled above it.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming on the full copy that will all be.
Right. Are they coming back next month? They just were throwing this out.
They don't have to, as long as you approve this and they give us Mylar. They're all done.
Right, so-
This isn't done, because this doesn't have the existing utilities and.
Right, well, we could conditionally approve it with, Matt adding that stuff on there, and then they just have to, Matt just has to make the Mylar. I mean, he knows he's done this.
Right.
So,
Which is the same deal with the field subdivision,
right.
but they.
I don't understand why he bailed. It's like he was saying.
It's all our fault, but they didn't put the stuff on the map. Okay.
My input would be if they made those corrections and then emailed this for us to look at one more time before we made the. We're gonna give. The map, to me, that looks good. I mean, they're on the right track.
So-
Closer now than they were before.
So we could,
There would be things,
so this is an action item.
not really, just, you know, the site.
So. Is this considered site plan review, or is this, there?
It's just a continuation of subdivision.
So I guess the question, is Matt gonna send another map for us next month, or? Were they hoping that they'd get conditional approval pending for the?
Conditional approval to go ahead and make a real Mylar out of this plan for approval.
All right, so, I guess I would, entertain a motion to conditionally approve, application 2459S, with the conditions that the final Mylar include, any missing elements on, what section is it, Tom? In the subdivision list. Section is that list, that's fine.
I can fill in all that stuff.
You probably have. Contents of the subdivision, site plan review. You can just say subsection 4A. Actually, it's the plat review, section 3, 3.02. That the final Mylar contains all of the required elements, section 3.
Okay.
We don't specify. Or.
You could, you could, yeah. Yeah, septic water and power, if you want.
Delineation of the 150 feet minimum road frontage. Or what's that law number? Or B.
Usually puts all that stuff in there.
So if we do a conditional approval, then it's just between. And the applicant after that point.
I have to come in and check the Mylar and I sign it.
Okay.
And so if any of that stuff is missing, I can't sign the Mylar. It isn't a legal subdivision until the Mylar is filed and it has all the right stuff on it, so. It's not like they could bring in a Mylar that was missing the septic or something and have that, have the subdivision legal.
So we don't need to look at it again as the board, as long as it meets everything we specify right here in this conditional approval.
Yeah,
You check it, sign it, done.
yeah.
And just a point of process here, is there a duration if say they waited 10 months to submit that Mylar?
180?
180 days.
So, okay, they have 180 days to meet this conditional and then they've got to start over.
From today, yes. Okay. Tom, read back what we got on water, septic, power.
And the 75 or 150 foot. drive.
50 foot total, however they do it,
150 total.
150 total, so if it's straight in, it can be 75 on each side, but if they turn it, well. It's 150. The way they've got it drawn, it would be 75.
I have a drone, looks like 300.
Well, yes, but they're not really saying where the road ends, it's just kind of, maybe it goes to the end, I don't know. He did say it was gonna go way up in there. Or could.
And that road doesn't require, because I remember on the field survey, they made a 75-foot property line box around. Why did they do that?
It's to have the 50 foot right of way has to go up into it.
So that this lot 4B doesn't require that.
Yes, it has
It
to have
does.
that same
Okay.
50 foot right of way.
Okay, so it's not as simple as delineating that the road extends into that property that far.
The right of way has to, just like it does for the rest of it.
Okay,
I do notice that they did not.
Yeah, it's stopped there.
okay.
So I guess add that, Tom, that the right of way delineation also needs to continue into parcel 4B.
Yeah, that's what's already said.
Well, no, the,
Yeah, they stopped the dash line stopped.
yeah. They got the road up in here, but the right of way, for some reason, he stopped here, and that, the right of way has to also come up into the property.
Isn't that what it's showing?
No, see those dotted lines right here, and the dash line, sorry.
Oh.
Those guys,
right, right.
yeah.
So these kind of go.
Just like that, yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think this was just a basic sketch to prove the overall plan, not the details.
Yeah.
Macro deal with the details. Yeah. So,
Give them a list of the details we think of.
It doesn't meet all of the site plan conditions, right, including road standards. We don't have to spell that out specifically. do we?
It's, no, I think it's because when Tom writes the findings of fact, you'll list that it has to meet the criteria. And then, yeah, technically, if they don't complete that, then the subdivision is not legal.
and they may never put that road because they have no intention of having two lots. That just, they had to do that. To get
It's gotta be filed.
Right, so if somebody else buys the property, then that's,
Exactly,
they can't say there's no road there because there is.
exactly.
even
And
if-
they're back in the same situation they started with. Okay, I got that.
Right, so that was kind of convoluted motion. Restate that, so I understand a motion that we conditionally approve application 2459S, including the conditions of power, water, septic, the 50-foot right of way, delineating the 75 or 150 feet of frontage in some fashion.
How's it?
All the other criteria labeled.
Yes, and Tom will put that in the findings of fact.
That was a motion.
That was, no, I was entertaining motion.
Oh,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Good. Anything else before we adjourn?
unless you want to respond to Mr. Field at all, or just let him go away.
It's nothing to respond.
I know, I was, yeah. I wasn't sure, I mean, they were like this close, I mean, and it seemed like. The stuff, the requirements were clear from the beginning. It's not like we sprang
He
any.
said the same thing right at the beginning. and-
Yeah, it's not like we conjured up stuff that wasn't,
So what did they give it up over, that you wanted them to take out the shade, the crosshatch section, or?
And weren't they technically over their 180 anyway? And I think we were gonna forgive that.
I got it. Yeah, I can hear very well. I think a lot of the issue is the surveyor. He did another subdivision for Arthur, same kind of,
Yeah,
it's over shit, and he doesn't care about the regulation, just draws what he wants.
All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Like that.
Is that what you're telling me? You guys always, all of you sign?
We all used to sign it, and then somewhere along the way, I think you told me that only I need to sign it, and
Is this the minutes?
yes.
Well, it sounds like one of the corrections that I'd emailed you didn't happen.
Uh-oh, what was that?
January 34th.
This is celebrated.
Don't sign it.
I emailed you that correction and you acknowledged it, but it didn't.
Typo or something?
Yeah, it's just a typo.
I did that. Let me look again, I think I did correct that.
January 34th hearing right here.
Oh, 34.
Yeah, so it should be 24th.
Yeah, just enough.
Yeah, and. Oh, it's correct here.
Oh, is that why there were two copies, maybe? There was one floating around, it was in one of the.
No, the other one was just the first draft.
Oh, the draft.
This was the corrected one. Second, this one.
Yeah, you got, this was the other corrections, this word right here, and that is correct. To what suggests that.
Just put a two.
Yeah, we can.
Three, or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't wanna say.
Yeah. It's too much.
I got one right.
I think I hate. Awesome.
Findings of fact, Tom, you want all of us to sign this?
Yeah, that one's good.
Anything? Next month,
Yeah, they are coming up. That's what people come in today, want to buy something else, not.
Seven. Those are the
Yeah.
small lots.
One by 7 and 5.
6 of us.
They adjacent?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They went down. The big lot down, so it's the lower one.
But he also. We're, the meeting is meeting folks, are we have this meeting?
Well, it was, motion was made to adjourn, it was seconded, we haven't voted.
All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, the abstentions.
Just brought up a pretty good question. We